Okay, so this is my Teen Pagan video, and what I'm going to be doing in this one is I'm going to be talking about, well, what to do with your parents and how to basically come out of the closet. Now, I'm going to bring in an alternative way of, instead of just, hey, mum, dad, I'm pagan. Instead of just going like that, I'm going to bring in a way that one of my friends did it, and it worked really, really well. Now, I don't think you should all do it, but I think you should listen, to how it's done. So, what my friend did was, he turned pagan, but instead of, just going to his parents and saying that I'm pagan, instead, he actually did it step by step. You didn't get this from any book, so you're not going to find it in anyone. But how he started was, well, instead of going out to his parents and saying he was pagan, first he came out to his parents and said, I don't feel that this religion, for example, well, actually his religion was Christianity, so I don't need an example. But he basically said, Christianity, I just do not feel is the right religion for me. And his parents were obviously a bit, well, one of his parents, his dad, was a bit worried because at a teenage age, apparently a lot of teenagers can get sucked into cults. I neither believe that happens just to teenagers, because anyone can get sucked into a cult, so it's not just mainly us, it's mainly anyone. So the way that they blame us for all that, I do not understand, and I pretty much dislike that. But he was worried that if he wasn't going to be a Christian, he was going to either turn to some dark religion such as Satanism, or he was going to go join a cult. He was basically going to go off the wrong path of God. That's his view anyway. However, his mum's view was a bit more understanding, because how he said it, obviously, with, I just do not feel that it is right for me. His mum just basically went, alright, I can see that. So, and that's how it happened. So he basically, instead of just reading up on paganism at first, he read up on every single religion to determine that paganism was his right religion. He looked at every other religion, every other belief system, or belief in any deities. He basically looked at them all and basically determined that it was definitely paganism that was his religion. Then, and this is something that I've done, is he looked at paganism, he looked at all its aspects, looked at every stereotype that could be made out of it, and basically looked at ways and solutions of combating that if someone ever talked to you about. So basically, he made a good argument against someone who was anti-pagan, which is a good thing for either someone who's going to talk to their parents or someone who's just going to go through their lives with maybe a lot of discrimination or fear of discrimination. It's always good to make a pointed argument so you can get both perspectives of the point, and enough about paganism so then you can make that balanced argument. So that's what he did, and he looked at all pagan aspects to make sure that he wasn't making the wrong choice, that there was some part of paganism that he thought was very wrong and evil or something like that. So that was his second step. His third step was he started buying crystals. He never said to his parents the fact that he was pagan and that's why he was buying the crystals or buying the candles or incense. He was basically buying You know, a lot of basic pagan stuff that don't make you look like a pagan, it just makes you look like you like those things, really. So he bought crystals. His parents understood, because he always had an interest in stones and crystals, so that made sense. He would buy herbs because he said he had an interest in aromatherapy and herbalism. And his parents, yet again, went, okay then, I see no harm with that, since it doesn't cause harm, it cures harm a lot at the time. And eventually, well, he just bought everything that didn't make him look like a pagan, but were used in paganism. So he would also buy craft stuff, not craft as in magic stuff, but craft as in you'd buy sewing stuff. He said he was starting to get an interest in crafting stuff, and he was, really, because a lot of pagans find that crafting stuff is a very good idea. So then he went to his parents and started talking about religions. He had religious debates, religious ideas. You'd talk about, what do you think of this belief, until eventually, after all the beliefs, and most of them, his parents would go, I see no harm in that, I think it's a good belief. And he never ever, said that he wanted to believe him. He just, said that he just mentioned them to his parents and wanted their opinion on it. And they obviously thought, because he was looking into religions, that would be a good plan to ask about beliefs. And eventually he asked, what is paganism? Acting as though he didn't know, even though he had a full knowledge of the pagan craft. So he basically used that and to see what his parents' opinion was. His mum was, well, I know a couple of pagans. I've seen nothing ever wrong with them. They're a bit eccentric, but altogether I find them good. And in some ways, yes, I think some pagans are eccentric. I'm eccentric, I know that. And his dad, however, was, yeah, basically a bit iffy about the whole thing, because he was raised up in a way that was a big stereotype towards paganism and pagan religions. And as well, that is something actually I forgot, he also took an interest in historical sites, history. So, mainly, obviously, Celtic history and Egyptian history, a lot of the Reconstructionist histories. It was only until a few weeks after he was doing all that they eventually came out to his parents. Now, his mum was, although was a little bit less serious about it than his dad, was a bit like, yeah, it's just a phase, you'll get over it. And I was like, when I heard about it from him, I was just like, I'm sick to death of those people. Because for some people, yeah, it's a phase, it's a fad, but for most, it's a proper religion. You actually have that genuine belief in it. It's not something that's just going to go away. So, and also, then, Dad was a bit, how dare you go into some satanic cult, and this basically caused a rift between the two parents, because on one side, Mum was supporting the fact that he found his right religion, and Dad, who was obviously could not understand the religion, was very against the idea. So in the end, his dad came to accept it after many conversations. I won't call them arguments, because only one or two went into proper serious arguments. But my friend was able to keep a calm face, he was able to keep it all calm, and he kept through it. But that's just one of the ways of doing it. There's lots and lots of ways. Sometimes just openly going out to your parents is the best way. Sometimes it's better getting their opinion before you actually go to them. For some people, and I don't recommend this, but for some people, it's better just to not tell them and, just do it all in secret. But comment, like, tell me what your view is on this video, because I always want to know opinions, and, well, new opinions. So subscribe, like I say, yeah. Alright, goodbye.